Hi, my name is Debora Albu and I'm a researcher at the Institute for Technology and Society here in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I'm also a feminist and human rights activist, working mainly through a feminist collective called Agora Juntas, or Now Together, that also works here in Brazil. As is known, Brazil ranks really low in global equality indexes. Despite having some interesting numbers, for example, in terms of education, where we see a bigger amount of women reaching higher education, for example, than men, in other fields, it's very different. Considering, for example, gender-based violence, we have one of the lowest rankings in the world. Brazil is the 5th country that most kills women for the fact that they are women, considering their gender. In only the first 10 days of 2019, more than 30 women were killed in femicide crimes. Patriarchy and machismo are ingrained in our societies and are the norms that are corresponded in that sense. When we see, for example, the domestic tasks, we see gender inequality at its most. Women, for example, dedicate about 20 hours average per week in domestic tasks and in tasks of care, while men dedicate only 10 hours. Again, this economy of care is an invisible side of what we actually see. It is, of course, possible to raise a family while you have a career, but seeing these conditions, it is much more difficult to do so. When we have to confront this very machista environment, it is quite hard to move forward and, for example, to have a promotion in your work when you have to deal with the fact that you have all this economy of care on your back. Gender equality has been one of my personal and professional agendas for many years now. Since I did my BA in International Relations, I dedicated my final research work towards understanding where Brazil stood in terms of the international regimes on gender equality. I analyzed, for example, how different presidential mandates related to gender equality and how they implemented international documents and decisions upon gender equality. That also led to my master's degree, where I studied specifically how feminist activists would organize in Brazil, but throughout my whole master's degree, I did study how Brazil and Latin America would position themselves in terms of gender equality. My master's was in gender and development at the London School of Economics, and I had the possibility to understand that from very different backgrounds, with different colleagues coming from Europe, from Americas, from Asia, from Africa, and it was a very interesting experience in that sense to understand how gender is portrayed and how it is perceived in different cultures. In between my bachelor's degree and my master's degree, I had the opportunity to do a summer school at the University of Oslo, there in Norway, and understand how gender equality works in the Nordic countries. It was an amazing experience, but it wasn't a very academic experience where I could study a lot about it, but I could not see that in practice. Now, participating at the BI gender experience would be an amazing opportunity to see how a family, for example, divides domestic tasks in a way that doesn't burden any of the sides. It would also be an amazing and very interesting opportunity to understand how businesses incorporate gender equality policies in their agendas and how they push forward to eliminate gender inequality in their companies. So this experience for me would also put me one step closer to working even more closely with the topic that is at the heart of everything I do. Gender equality is not only a matter of economies, it's a matter of human rights. And I believe this experience would definitely make me a stronger defender of gender equality here in Brazil and all over the world. Thank you very much.